Hey everyone, the video you guys are about to watch is like a compilation of all the photos I've recently taken part of my OFA class. Right now our studio is about to move, in case I delete these photos, I figure I might post the compilation now. So this is just stuff I've been doing kind of alongside my classes. There won't be any of my students though, I'll make sure of that. But yeah, feel free to just take a look at my photos I've been taking alongside my students. It helps to take photos alongside them just because I feel like I've been getting more inspired to take photos again because of my students mostly. Anyways, enjoy the video.
Alright, so a bit of information about these photos that you're about to see. All of these photos were using the Canon Rebel T7. It's definitely an interesting camera because based off spec wise, it's supposed to be better than my actual Canon 60D, but I found myself kind of limited to some of the features, and I was missing some of the features on the 60D. The lens I used for this Photowalk was the Canon 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. It's honestly not that bad of a lens. It does the job. It shoots wide, it can shoot technically close up with its 55, and depending on like the range and depending on how close I can get to the subject, I can get some really sweet details because it does have like a macro feature. A lot of these photos were taken outside the studio in Sunnyvale. We recently just moved, so I feel comfortable enough to like show you guys the photos. Technically, we're on the border of Sunnyvale and Santa Clara, so I was actually within walking distance to the Santa Clara Levi Stadium, which is a really cool work spot in my opinion. So it's a shame that we're having to leave the studio. And in addition to that too, majority of the photos that I was taking during these photo walks with my students, a lot of them are plants, a lot of them are trees, a lot of them are cars. It's mostly just because that's kind of like the variety that we can see. And a lot of the times it's also just kind of up to the interpretation of like what you want to look for in photos. I'm taking pictures of the floor with like, I guess you can say littered about, and it kind of makes for some really interesting compositions. If I had more time and also a goal, I probably would make some of these photos black and white as well too. It's kind of amazing seeing the different facilities that the premise offered. Sometimes, a lot of the times there are a lot of Teslas driving around, but every so often you see like a really rare car. I don't think I took pictures of it, but there was at least one person who had a Nissan R34 GTR that looked really cool. In terms of the aperture I would use for a lot of these photos, I think I tried keeping it high, so at least above 5.6, just due to the fact that I was outdoor for the most part, so it was going to be the hardest thing for me to adjust. And adjusting it on these type of cameras are kind of a pain in the butt because the Rebel T7 specifically loses the knob. I guess one of the features I like on the 60D series is that there's a turn knob where you can adjust the aperture on electronic lenses, which is something that was missing from the Rebel T7. Otherwise, you have to hold down a button and then adjust it with a scroll wheel. It's kind of counterintuitive. It just, you can't adjust it on the fly as quickly as you might think. So a lot of the times for me to get good photos from these photos, I would try my best to just adjust the shutter speed to compensate for too much light or not enough light. So sometimes my exposure would go down all the way to 1/13, but other times it would go above at least 1/125. I will admit, for a majority of these photos, I did shoot on JPEG. It's in terms of how we produce the photos with the students, it is a lot more easier to just run it through JPEG instead versus RAW. Otherwise, it's like an extra step. So it's easier to just take pictures. I think midway through like this video that you're watching right now, I did switch the photo formats to CR2s, mostly because I thought I would be getting a bigger quality jump. But when I was compiling these photos, it kind of became a pain in the butt, mostly because on my current laptop I don't have a CR2 converter, so I had to Google Adobe's method for converting CR2 files, which required people to open up the Apple preview image app, I guess you can say. And hypothetically, the way they describe it is really quick and easy because you can open up all the photos at once using preview, and then once you select all the photos inside the Apple preview, you're then able to convert it into JPEG. But every time I kept dropping the JPEGs into Adobe Premiere, it kept saying that the files were corrupted or there was some sort of error on the files. So for me, that was like a waste of time. So I actually ended up having to like sort through the actual photos that I did want, and then proceed to export them individually into JPEGs, which kind of a hassle. On occasion, when I was walking around doing the photos, there would be sometimes new occurrences. So people who are sometimes taking out Christmas decorations. We also got a dumpster for moving to the new studio, so sometimes I would take pictures of that. Honestly, I would look for anything new out of the ordinary to document more or less with these photos. That's about it with this video. If you guys liked it, feel free to tell me in the comments that you liked it, or if you really hated it or detested this video, please tell me in the comments. At least that way I can kind of get an idea of whether or not I want to make more videos like this. And if it's not too much trouble, I would appreciate a sub or a like for this video as well too. Anyways, I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.